Hello, you are watching Shalom World News. I'm David Kerr from Lansing in Michigan, and these are your latest news headlines from around the world. A coalition of military forces led by the United States and the United Kingdom have carried out a series of strikes by land and air upon the Houthi rebels in Yemen. In recent months, the Iranian-backed group has carried out a series of attacks upon ships in the Red Sea in response, it says, to the Israeli invasion of Gaza. President Joe Biden says the latest military action by the US, the UK and their allies will help protect the free flow of international commerce. The leadership of the Houthis have vowed that attacks upon their positions in Yemen will not go without punishment or retaliation. The US Secretary of State Antony Blinken says that providing a roadmap to a Palestinian state is the best way to calm the wider Middle East and to isolate Iran and its agents in the region. Mr. Blinken made his comments in Egypt on Thursday at the conclusion of a hectic regional tour. The Israeli invasion of the Palestinian Gaza Strip was triggered by a cross-border attack by Hamas gunmen on southern Israel on the 7th of October, in which at least 1,300 people were killed, most of them civilians, and about 240 others taken hostage. Since then, more than 23,000 people have been killed in Gaza, mostly children and women, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The government of Ukraine has denounced a decree by President Vladimir Putin that grants Russian citizenship to children who were forcibly deported to Russia during the early days of the conflict in Ukraine 2 years ago. The Ukrainian Foreign Ministry called the decree a violation of Ukrainian and international laws and children's rights. The International Criminal Court issued a warrant for President Putin's arrest last March over Russia's policy of relocating children to Russia. In response, Russia claims it was merely moving children out of danger. Various Christian groups have expressed their opposition to a proposal by the Scottish Government to ban so-called conversion therapy. A document was released this week by the devolved Scottish Government, which proposes to criminalise, quote, acts which are intended to change or suppress a person's sexual orientation or gender identity. In response, the evangelical lobby group the Christian Institute say that they will move legally if the Scottish Parliament passes a law which it claims denies basic freedom of speech and religion. Meanwhile, the Bishops' Conference of Scotland has also expressed its concerns, stating that any such ban would restrict mainstream religious pastoral care, parental guidance and other relevant professional interventions. The Chaldean Catholic Patriarch of Baghdad is calling upon all Christians in Iraq to work together to stem the continuing exodus of Christians from the Middle Eastern land. Writing in the Chaldean Patriarch website, Cardinal Luis Rafael Sacco said that he hoped that the Holy See's nuncio to Iraq would contribute greater unified activity by Iraqi Christians. He lamented that divisions among Christians had prevented various churches and Christian communities in Iraq from pursuing strong unified policies and initiatives. A UK-based human rights organisation has denounced the increasing frequency of assaults on churches in Upper Egypt. Christian Solidarity Worldwide issued their statement after a temporary church in Minya province was destroyed after being set on fire by a local Muslim mob early in the morning of January the 6th. Local police are said to have responded to the attack quickly to prevent further escalation. Christian Solidarity Worldwide say they strongly condemn the sectarian attacks on innocent people who want to practice their faith peacefully, which they note is a right enshrined in the Egyptian constitution. A new study in the United Kingdom has revealed that the number of women dying during pregnancy or after 6 weeks of childbirth has reached its highest figure in the last 20 years. The findings are contained in a perinatal mortality report from the group Mothers and Babies, Reducing Risk Through Audits and Confidential Inquiries. The report also highlights poorer health outcomes for mothers who are from a deprived background and those who are from an ethnic minority. It's been announced that the baldacchino above the high altar of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome is to undergo restoration. The bronze canopy is the creation of the 17th century Baroque sculptor Gian Lorenzo Bernini. The expected completion date of the restoration is December of this year. The cost of the repair has been met by the Knights of Columbus, who say it's an expression of their solidarity with the Church and the Pope. Asia is a continent of rising authoritarianism, with various regimes becoming more oppressive in silencing opponents. That's according to the campaign group Human Rights Watch, who issued a new report on Thursday. It claims that the liberal democracies of the West and Asia are prioritising short-term trade and security interests over long-term relationships built on human rights. It also claims that the situation in Myanmar is deteriorating as a result of the country's military dictatorship's war crimes and crimes against humanity. The latest edition of the Irish Medical Council's ethical guidelines no longer contains a ban on the deliberate killing of patients. The updated ethical guidelines came into effect on January the 1st of this year. It replaces the previous edition, published in 2016. It had explicitly directed that doctors may not participate in the deliberate killing of a patient by active means. The new guidelines also drop guidance regarding abortion and assisted human reproduction. The actor who portrays Jesus Christ in the television series The Chosen is now the subject of a new documentary himself. Entitled Jonathan and Jesus, the four-part series profiles American actor Jonathan Romy. Produced by Lionsgate Entertainment, each episode explores the true identity of Romy and the impact of the role of Jesus has had on his life. The series is now streaming on Amazon Prime. Finally, the death has been announced of Giuseppe Riva, the disfigured man who was publicly embraced by Pope Francis in St. Peter's Square a decade ago. He was 63 years old. Mr. Riva suffered from a rare genetic disease known as neurofibromatosis, which is also known as von Recklinghausen's disease. A native of Isola Vicentina in Italy's northern Veneto province, he made headlines across the world after being embraced by the Holy Father back in November 2013. May he rest in peace. That's your latest headlines for now. Do join us for more tomorrow. You can also join us at swnews.org for news updates. Shalom.